Good morning. This is cause number 2012-11372 in the interest of Katie and Zoe Brown. All parties, please raise your right hands to be sworn. You solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Yes.
All right, ma'am, please state your name and your relationship to the children.
Crystal Colop, mother.
All right, sir. Your name and your relationship to the children.
David Brown, father.
All right, counsel, your name and who you represent.
Monica and a host for the respondent, David Brown.
And for the state.
Toya Armstrong, representing the Office of the Attorney General.
All right, we've got an original petition and a suit affecting parent-child relationship, suit for modification, motion to confirm support arrearage. Do we have an agreement?
We do have an agreement, Your Honor. I'd like to get that agreement proven up on the record and then get an entry date for next Monday, October the 26th. It's going to take Monica and I some time to get the order together.
All right,
Agreement.
go ahead.
Thank you. The parties have agreed to the following, Your Honor. The parties have agreed to make themselves joint managing conservator of the children. For mom to keep the children's primary residence within Harris County or a county that touches Harris County. For dad, Mr. Brown, to have an expanded, amended standard possession order. Mr. Brown will pay child support for the two children in the amount of $430 per month, begin November 1st of 2020. He would then have a step down of child support to the amount of $344 per month, but not until one of the children emancipates. Mom is ordered to apply for the government medical assistant program, and dad will pay medical support of $175 per month, also to begin November 1st of 2020. We are not requesting any retroactive child support for the new child, Zoe Brown, that we're adding to this case. However, we are taking a child support judgment against Mr. Brown from the prior order in the amount of $21,762.34 as of October 18th, 2020. Asking the court to allow her to relinquish a portion of that arrears. She's asking to have a new judgment against Mr. Brown in the amount of $7,881. So that's going to be the new judgment after the release as of October 18th, 2020. We also want to set a payout of those arrears. And Monica, we hadn't decided what his payout would be each month for those. Can you tell the judge right now what amount he wanted to pay on the child support arrears?
And I'm sorry, I know we didn't discuss, what's the interest on that?
It's about $50 or less.
Okay, because I know he
About
has the medical.
$25, I mean. How much?
So if we can do it to where it covers, 'cause I know you have medical also, Mr. Brown, are you able to pay off that arrears balance of that $78.81 at paying at least $50 a month?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. And then, so that $50 a month towards that new cumulative judgment after release will also begin November 1st of 2020. We also want to take a medical support judgment against Mr. Brown in the amount of $7,517.21. However, mom is also asking to relinquish $1,500 of that judgment, leaving a cumulative medical support judgment of $6,017.21 as of October 18th of 2020. We'll see if Mr. Brown can pay, can he pay an additional $15 per month for the medical judgment?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, so $15 per month on the medical support judgment, Your Honor. That will also begin November 1st of 2020. Court costs as billed to dad if Harris County so chooses to do so against Mr. Brown, due on or before February 1st of 2020. We also pled for non-disclosure finding to protect Ms. Cohelp's address and contact information. And we also are adding a couple of injunctions.
I'm sorry, what was the last one? With the address?
Ms. Cohelp's address will not be placed in the order.
So I'm
Because
not
of
allowed to know where my
non-disclosure
kids are?
finding.
So I don't get to know where my kids are living at or what? I'm not understanding. You said address.
That's correct. Monica,
Yeah.
did you?
And
you
Mr.
wanna-
Mr. Brown, I don't think that we went, we weren't actually clear on that because I thought she said it was okay for her to have his address.
No, for him to have her address is the question.
Yeah. Yeah, and
So
and I
know where
thought
my kids are.
I'm sorry, I thought she had mentioned she was okay with him having her address.
She
Call
did,
him.
and then she said she did not want him to have her address. Let
I'm
me
not
just-
okay. I'm not okay with not knowing where my kids are. She's already planning on moving.
Okay, well, let me go on with what was agreed. We'll ask that for a question, Your Honor, that one section, okay? Next agreement was to add a few injunctions into the order. The first injunction we're gonna add is communication by the parties through a program, My Family Wizard, or Our Family Wizard. The next one is to make sure that the partner, the live-in partner of Ms. Crystal Cohelp is not left alone with the children. I believe that was correct, Monica. And Monica,
Yes.
were there any another injunction that they agreed to?
Yes, there were the two injunctions that were in the prior order that no party would have disparaging remarks in front of the children and not discussing litigation with the children.
Yes, that was also an agreement, Your Honor. We're going to add those injunctions in the order as well. So it looks like the only thing we have left to discuss is a non-disclosure finding. Look like everything else has been agreed to. I'd like to call my first witness, Crystal Cohelp, please.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
All right.
Ma'am, did you hear the terms of the agreed order as I stated it to the judge?
Yes, ma'am.
And were those in fact your agreements?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, you understand you're asking the judge to allow you to release a certain amount of money towards your child support judgment. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
And you understand that if the judge grants that release, you'll never be able to get that money back. You
Yes, ma'am.
understand? Do you still want to release that amount of money?
Yes, ma'am.
And the same thing for the medical side. You're asking to release $1,500 from the medical arrears. That you understand that you will never get that money back as well. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
And is it still your testimony today that you want to still release that $1,500 from the medical side as well?
Correct.
Now, let's talk a little about the non-disclosure finding. Now, I explained to you earlier, non-disclosure finding will protect your address and contact information from Mr. Brown. You remember that conversation?
Yes, ma'am.
And was there a reason why you did not want Mr. Brown to have your address or to have to give him your address if you were to move?
I'm just afraid that he might take off with the children. He might just show up there and just try and take off with the children. If I don't have to worry about that and I can take that fear out of my head, then then we can work together as a team.
Okay.
And I do not have a problem.
So tell us a little bit about what happened earlier this year, in 2020. You said can you tell us when the cops were called, what happened in that incident?
The cops came out to check on the welfare of the children because Mr. Brown went to jail, and then the cops put the children back in my care. And whenever Mr. Brown got out of jail, he called the cops. They showed up to check on the welfare of the children. They said nothing was wrong, and they left.
Was Mr. Brown placed in jail?
For assaulting me.
Okay, and when did that assault occur? That alleged assault occur?
In April.
April of what year, ma'am?
I believe April of this year.
Of 2020. Okay. And is there a criminal charge pending right now concerning that assault?
Yes, ma'am.
So I'm asking you, if Mr. Brown were to have your address, would that potentially cause you any harm or harassment?
No, ma'am. I do not believe it will. Right now, I'm saying no, ma'am. I'm okay with
Okay.
it.
So then you're okay with Mr. Brown having your address?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry. I'm getting a little confused, but yes, ma'am.
Uh-huh.
I am okay with him having my address. I believe he deserves to know the whereabouts of his children. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, then, Your Honor, everything is in agreement then.
All right, sounds like it.
About the non-disclosure.
Miss Hosad, do you have any questions for your client or Miss Colehip?
I don't have any questions for Ms. Cohab, but I have just one or two for Mr. Brown.
All right.
Okay, I call my next witness then, Mr. David Brown.
All right.
Yeah.
Mr. Brown, did you also hear the terms of the agreement as I stated them to the court?
Yes, ma'am.
And was that in fact your agreement?
Yes, ma'am.
And do you understand that in this order, you will have a certain time when you're allowed to have the children, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And then you will have a certain time when you are required to return those children to Ms. Cohel. You understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and you're asking the court to approve this order today?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, I pass the witness.
Ms. Hinojosa?
Judge, Mr. Armstrong covered the couple of questions that I was going to ask my client, so I have nothing further.
All right.
Sorry.
Ms. Colehip, do you have any questions for Mr. Brown?
No, ma'am. And I'm
Mhm.
sorry, no, sir.
All right. And Ms. Hinojosa, you have no questions for Ms. Colehip. Is that correct?
Correct, Judge.
All right. So what is the entry date?
Monday, October 26, 2020.
2/6/26?
Yes, October 26.
All right.
Yes, sir.
All right. The court will approve the agreement and set the entry date for October 26, 2020. All right.
Thank
Thank
you,
you
sir.
very much for reaching an agreement.
Thank you,
Thank you,
sir.
Judge.
All right.
All right, y'all can log off and we'll contact you with the order, okay? Thank you.